All right, Avi, you're 20 years old. You're very successful for your age. You're the founder of a massive tech company. I was going to say most 20-year-olds still don't know what they're doing, but most people my age, 23, I guess now, they don't know what they're doing. They don't even have the plan yet. But you seem like you not only have the plan, but you have it all figured out. And I know you probably don't even think that of yourself, but I would love to know, first of all, why are you an entrepreneur?
I think it boils down to like how I started. I think most people in general don't really like pick a path for themselves. They're usually just brought into it just through trial and error, right? So I started when I was 18 in college, and I had no like real passion for anything at the time. I was heavy into video games, had no friends. I was as loser as it gets in college. I was studying engineering and CS at UIUC, right? My grades were decent, but like 2 weeks in, I realized like I had to make a change and do something like sporadic, right? So what I did was I started looking into whatever space I could get into, and Web3 was doing incredibly well at the time. So I decided to start an NFT company, which is, again, like brainless. Like, it was brainless stuff. Like, we had artists that was making NFT projects for big celebrities. I was DMing massive celebrities every single day, and then basically saying we'd make these projects for them, give them a portion of the cut, and then we'd take a portion as well. And then we got in touch with a lot of big people, started growing my network that way. And like I said, like, original motivation was just to try something different. But as we went forward, like, I found a passion for it, much like most founders out there. But yeah, it's through trial and error every single time. Yeah.
That's a very intimidating first step, though.
Yeah,
at least in my most of the entrepreneurs I've interviewed or know personally,
yeah.
even the guys that have the most successful companies, like a friend of mine, Harry, he's the CEO of like a probably $700 million company today, but his first business was like selling shoes, I think he said.
Yeah.
You're jumping right into the deep end, right?
Well, I think
Web3,
the worst part was
intimidating.
Yeah, I think the worst part was like I wasn't like skilled at business. Like, I didn't know what an LLC was. I didn't know like how to build a website, or like I didn't know how to build a social presence, anything. I had like 400 followers on Instagram, posting like random pictures with no friends. Like I said, it was like solo pictures of me playing tennis or something, right? And I had Indian parents, obviously, so it's like a cultural shift. And dropping out of college after 2 weeks, and like a CS at UIUC is like, I think it's like number 2 in the country, right? So obviously, like, it's a very intimidating first step, but I think it's the best step I've ever taken. And I think me just taking that step put me in a position where if I didn't succeed, I was just fucked for life. So the only thing I could do was succeed. It's just like putting yourself in a position where if you fail, like you're just ruined, basically.
How do you do that? Like, what do you tell yourself internally to rationalize doing something that, nobody around you thinks is secure? Your parents are probably extremely...
No, yeah, I didn't tell my parents, so I couldn't tell them for a while. So the rationale behind it was like, if I don't do this now, I don't think I ever will, right? And I didn't want to live with the regret that I never tried it. And I knew that if I did try it, I had to do something, like I said, drastic, because if I didn't, then everyone else around me would somehow find their way back into comfort me into, a path of life that I didn't have any passion for. Not saying there's anything wrong with like, studying or becoming an engineer. They're the most successful people in the world and they're incredibly talented, but I didn't have a passion for, it was not my drive. I didn't have a drive at the time, right? It was like, the real point was I needed to find something that I liked. And I've always been the type of person that like likes building my own projects or likes doing everything solo. So the drastic step forward was the only path I could see that would work, because if I didn't take that drastic step, I'm really good at getting comfortable, which is a really bad thing. And I've learned to not do that over time. But at the start, like if I didn't get super uncomfortable to the point where I would just completely start, then I wouldn't start at all. Like I would just be in a spot where I wouldn't work or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you go from being really nerdy and antisocial and probably having a bit of social conflict to then you're kind of like LinkedIn funnel boss right now?
LinkedIn funnel boss.
Like when I first met you and we were talking on the phone, you're like, yeah, I call hundreds of people every day or something like that.
Yeah. Bro, it's just like I said, it's trial and error. Like within starting the first company, the first thing I did was I went on Fiverr, made the worst video of all time explaining what the company does. Like it looked like a 5.5-year-old made it online, and I had no like standards, obviously. So the designs I put out, it was super cringy. Like everything was as cringe as possible. And that's not just like on the creator standpoint. That's on like if a founder of a company saw that, they would think I was like a fake founder, like I wasn't doing anything, right? And that was at the start. It got a lot better. Like I had a very fast iteration cycle. I was better after like 2 months, right? But I even at the start was messaging thousands of celebrities. Like I DM'd in the first week, I DM'd 1,000 celebrities on Instagram. I learned how to talk to people like very fast. And the first person who got back to me was this guy named Alan Galani, who's one of the biggest fighters in One Championship, which is like the UFC of Asia. And he was like, listen, Avi, let's do it. Let's build this collection together. And I was in a position where like, if I didn't say the right words, that client's gone permanently. And I ruined that relationship. So it's, again, putting yourself in a position where if you don't say the right words to lead you to the right path that you want to lead down, you're screwed. And I think I talked to people every single day. That was my job for like 3 months. It was just talking to really big people that I had no right being in a room with. And even to this day, that's what I do. Like I'm cold calling like massive CEOs of companies trying to raise my round, and been doing that for like months and months and months, right? So like you're talking to people and slowly increasing your social acuity to the point where you can pretty much tackle any conversation fairly easily because you're dealing with people that already have a very high social standard. So if you can get on a call with them and keep them on for 2 minutes, you can keep anyone on a conversation for 3 hours if you want, you know?
Yeah, but today, right now, you have, you know, somewhat of a large platform. You have a little bit of status behind you. You have the reputation, right? Back then, you know, you're young, you're a first-time founder, and you have 400 followers, whatever it was. That's a huge place. That's a huge disadvantage when doing cold outreach.
I agree.
And a lot of people, like maybe one of the most asked questions I get is, how do I network with important people?
I'm gonna be like incredibly frank with this, right?
Yeah,
like I had 400 followers, and to this day, like around 5,000 are of my current following on Instagram, for example, is completely unreal. And what I did was I went on a bought Instagram follower site. I bought 5,000 followers, right? And it wasn't for like I want to show like I'm this massive person, but like if I'm DMing celebrities, they're not going to respond to someone with 400 followers. Like it's like the first number you look at. Like you have to look at the optics, like the metrics, right? When someone looks at a following count, like it's immediate like social turnoff, right? So I archived all my posts because I knew that none of the ones I had up were good at all, right? I bought the 5,000 followers and I had like a half decent description in my bio. That's like the best I could do. That's the best with all the cards I had in my hands. Anything more than 5K would look super suspicious. Anything less would not do the trick. And over time, like I said, when you're building these relationships, like you'll grow that following pretty naturally, right? But at the start, I really hate it because a lot of people do this and they're not very honest about it. It's super important that you like, at the beginning, you have to fake it till you make it a little bit. Like you can't enter these social circles knowing that you have zero credentials or anything. And the only play forward is to interact with them. So you have to do something about it, right?
You also did it the right way though.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at your page, I noticed that, you know, you have all the fake comments too
at
the beginning of your post. I did a deep dive, right?
Yeah,
and that's a lot of people don't even think to go that far.
No one does.
So props to you. But I also want to give props to you because, you know, you say fake it till you make it. I completely agree. But you're not selling a lie.
No,
like
I'm not.
I would love to talk with you about this because you're a very successful young founder. Most of the guys our age or in between today, they are showing a flashy lifestyle.
Yeah, it's just
selling this dream life, and they're not actually selling anything.
Like they're not doing
substance.
Anything of substance. That's the problem. Like I see, like not gonna lie, I have plenty of founder friends, right? And some of them I don't even consider founders. Like they're just selling a fake lifestyle, selling a course on top of that to then fake the fake lifestyle, and then getting money from people by scamming them on a social product or a course product that actually has no value, right? What I realized, like, the fake stuff is, you can't go too far with it, like, because then it's diminishing returns. Like it's so much worse to have a fake looking page with fake stuff that's very clearly fake because you haven't built the skills required to, as a person, to then showcase that you have some value to provide, because you're in a feedback loop of fake things happening all the time, and eventually you trick yourself into thinking they're real and you're not actually improving at anything, right?
Yeah, it's like one big giant pyramid scheme, right? I want to get rich, I want to get famous. I see this kid's videos with his car and his penthouse in Miami and his watch. Okay, so I buy his course. Then I make a couple $1,000s, and then at that point I sell my own course, and it's just a repeat cycle.
Like, the difference was, like, I bought the 5,000 followers, but I didn't like start making posts or doing crazy comments or anything like that, or like posting a shit ton on Reels. Like what I did, I took the 5K and I did nothing with it, and I just messaged a shit ton of people and started building the network. Like if you go to my following count right now and you scroll for hours, you will only see verified check marks. It's because it's again who I talk to every single day. It's the only people
recent ones.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like I'll have mutuals like most people on the internet now, but like at the very start, I didn't have like anything, like any people that I actually knew like that were, you know, solid, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that like you can leverage like the fake it till you make it, but you can't take it too far, and you can't be dishonest with people around you. Otherwise that lowers your trust socially, like completely crumbles almost.
Yeah, well, it's quick. I like to call it quick money versus long money.
Yeah,
it's really easy to make anywhere from a few tens of thousands of dollars to a few hundreds, right?
It's so easy.
You rent the car, you rent the house, you make a couple lifestyle
I saw
shoots.
a reel. I saw this reel of some guy saying, rent the car, rent the house, make 3 years worth of content in 2 days, and then just like sell a course on top of it. And that's it. That's what people do. That's quite literally all they do.
It'll
right?
work though, and
Yeah,
you'll make
it'll
a
work.
little bit, but
No.
like you said perfectly, you're ruining any long.
You're not going to be a billionaire.
Chance.
The whole point is like these people preach all day about like wanting to make money. The truth is like, yeah, you might want to make money, but it's not. You can't go to the lengths that you think you're going to go to with this, right? Like Andrew Tate might say every single day he makes hundreds of millions of dollars. The truth is like that's a diminishing product no matter what. I don't care what anyone says. Like unless you're providing actual value and substance, like it's not going to come to play the way you think it is.
Yeah.
And starting something of your own, starting something that actually provides value in some way, shape, or form, beyond just like an info product or beyond just like this fake Fugazi thing around you, right? Is the way to go. Like, there's no other way to go about it. You know,
it also gives you meaning. This is one thing that I've really, started to notice in my own career.
It gives you drive, meaning everything.
It gives you drive. It gives you purpose because you actually believe in what you're building instead of kind of selling a lie. Whereas all of these info product guys, their confidence is solely derived from their earnings.
No, exactly.
And that is dangerous
I know so
because
many
if you
people
lose those, you're screwed.
I was at a dinner with a couple founders, right? And one of them was info product founder, or I wouldn't say info product founder, but scam founder. It's the best way to put it, right? Someone that's just like milking people for money. And we went around a table and we were trying to discuss like what's like a piece of advice you'd give to the rest of this table, right? And everyone gave like really constructive advice about like pushing forward as a human being. And this guy goes, you only are your true self when you have money. I'm like, brother, you're your true self when you do what you want to do, right? Like there's so much materialistic value added to the people that if you were to take any of that away, they'd be like frail, helpless cats in society. Like, I try to put it like this: if everyone went homeless one day and we had nothing other than ourselves, who would come out on top? That's like the person that's the best, right? Like no money, no monetary stuff, no physical objects. Like it's really about you at the end of the day. Like your value should be derived from yourself, and that's end of story. That's the only way you succeed. Like everything else falls in place usually.
Yeah, one of my good friends thinks that we're in a bubble right now and it's about to burst. Not the economy. Not
like the social bubble that you're talking about.
Yeah, the info product bubble is getting to a point where
I actually agree with him. I see way more content creators calling out the bullshit, and I hope there's more that come every single day. But they go very viral, and you go to the comment section, and usually it's like all the, I don't know, like the Andrew Tate supporters going in, like spamming the comments at least a year ago. But now you see people that are like, thank fuck people are calling out this bullshit, right? Like, so I'm glad like the awareness for it is spreading a little bit more, you know, like people are getting more accustomed to being normal human beings. Hopefully it happens soon.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into what you're building right now, right? So I have a little bit of a background. You explained it to me, but for everyone watching, let's say they have no idea who you are. What is Nitrility?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're filming a podcast right now.
Yeah.
And let's say you want to use music in the podcast. Let's say you want to use like a Taylor Swift song, for example, to put in this podcast. And you're publishing on YouTube, for example. It's next to impossible to do that. What that requires is basically permission from Taylor Swift to use her song. And that permission is a license. A license is just a signed contract from Taylor Swift basically saying, I'm allowed to use her song in this video. Now, there's a couple problems with that. One, it's physically impossible to contact Taylor Swift as a normal human being or even someone that's high status. She's one of the most famous people in the world. And most artists with most good songs are just like that. Same thing goes for any other intellectual property. Let's say you want to talk to Apple's CEO to get a license for one of his patents. It's next to impossible, right? The worst part of all of this is that if you do get a license from Taylor Swift, no one will know you own it. So a platform like YouTube will give you a copyright claim, which is basically a legal issue, right? So what we've done is we've built a system where it's a marketplace where Taylor Swift on her end can create an account and sell licenses for all her music in seconds. Same thing with any other IP holder like music, patents, images, logos, whatever. And then on the buyer side, if you're a content creator, a Netflix that wants to use music in their TV show, movie, or you're Olive G wants to, buy music for an advertisement they're making, or you're a tech company that wants to license a patent from another tech company, right? You can come on our marketplace, buy the license for it directly from the person selling it, and then have the rights to use it. And then we will basically help you not get any copyright claims or legal issues permanently, right?
And you take a piece, right?
Yeah, we take a 2.5% transaction fee for some and 5% for other, but it's very low. Like, you can think of it like this: a publisher usually takes 50% transaction fee on license sales, so we take like very low, and we've made it so that we've democratized the whole process. So you don't have to deal with going to one person to get all these licenses. You can go on a marketplace, see millions of pieces of IP, music, whatever, and purchase them anytime you want. To date, we have close to 34,000 artists on the platform. I've had to partner with all of them basically manually, but we've done a good job of that. And we have close to 400,000 songs that are going to be coming on the marketplace and going to be launching in like 2 months now after we finish our seed raise.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm excited for you, bro.
I'm
And I remember
excited
you
too.
told me about that.
Yeah.
When did we first like connect about this? 6 months ago,
it was
probably?
like six, 7 months
Dude,
ago. Yeah.
fuck yeah. And it's a brilliant idea, right? I don't know how. I want to learn more about how you thought of this. Was it something that just popped in one day, or did you do like an extensive amount of research?
It was inspiration from the Web3 company. So
Okay.
the Web3 company happened, right? And we made this collection for Alan Galani, right? And a buyer was going to come in and purchase the entire collection, one championship. They were going to buy it out, right? For 3.5 million. So we had the collection ready to go, and Alan was, ready to start marketing everything. And we had this really crazy promotional video we made for the collection. In the promotional video, we used a song called Survivor by Zway, which was originally made by Beyonce's Destiny Child. So I showed the video to my general counsel, my lawyer at the time, and he goes, "Avi, this is great, but do you have a license for the song?" And I tell him, like, "Ryan, I don't even know what a license is. I've never heard of that before," right? And he goes, "Yeah, a license is just basically a signed contract from the artist saying you're allowed to use a song." And I go, "Beyonce made the song. Do you expect me to get in touch with Beyonce and get a license from her?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's standard practice." I spent maybe 4 months doing that, and I eventually got to the end of the journey and went through like 40 plus connections to get in touch with Beyonce's team. Dropped around $30,000 on this one license for this song. And then we are going to upload the promotional video, have like 10 YouTubers going to upload it, millions of followers, they're going to see the video. We upload it. Within quite literally 5 to 10 minutes, we get copyright striked on every single video across the board because no one knows we own the license. Yeah. And then on OpenSea, the collection gets taken down. I start spam calling like the owners of YouTube because I have their numbers. I start spam calling like OpenSea owners. Like, they can't do anything. They don't know the license.
You have the numbers of the owners of
YouTube? Yeah, they're on Rocket Reach and shit. Like there's like public databases for it, right? So we go through that. We lose the entire collection basically instantly because all the YouTubers don't want copyright strikes on their videos. They get taken down. I was in a bad place. Like, it was a tough time, right? Because I just dropped all of it, started this, everything was there, and we lost it at the last step.
You got fucked and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing I can do about it, right? So I was like, this can't be just like a me thing. Like, this has got to be a massive problem. I start doing research, right? David Dobrik, for example, has lost every single penny of his YouTube ad revenue on copyright claims. He's never made a single dime. And I look at he doesn't make money off YouTube at all. So then I looked at the numbers, like from a statistical standpoint on the whole market, and there's 1.4 billion copyright claims on YouTube every year. That means there's 1.4 billion licenses required to clear the copyright claims. And again, no one knows if the licenses are bought or not. So that was the inspiration. I was like, why don't we just have a marketplace where Beyonce, for example, could have sold all the licenses for her music, and then me as the content creator in this case could have bought that license, and then we store all of the data on a reliable place like the blockchain, and then a platform like YouTube or Twitch or a court of law can use that data to then accurately assess if the user, me, owns a license or not, and then not give a copyright claim, right? So that was the inspiration behind it. We started almost immediately, like year one. We raised like $50K, used that as working capital to build out the MVP. And
was that through friends and family?
It was through selling the first collection back to Alan Galani, and then he paid us out. Yeah,
nice.
So which was nice. It was like the remnants of the first company, you know. So we started building out the product, had that done like conceptually like MVP. It's a fairly technical product, so it took 3 years to now until we finally are down with it. But we got that done year one, and then.
And how old are you at that point?
It was 19.
Okay.
Sorry, 18 still at that point. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And then August 4th is when I turned 19. But by the time I turned 19, we had 70 artists on the platform and just raised our first pre-seed round of 100K. And then year 2 is when things really exploded. I signed like 4,000 artists in 4 months just through all cold DMs every single day. And that was all in signed contracts with them. Some of the biggest record labels in the independent scene, some of the biggest artists. Our average artist has like 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And now our average has like 1 to 15 million for our recent signs at least. So some of the biggest artists in the world. And to date, we signed close to 34,000 artists. In one trip, I signed 30,000 artists. It was a great time. It was at Amsterdam at ADE. But yeah.
Dude, I have so many questions on that. Okay, first of all, what's your go-to DM?
Go-to DM?
Yeah, what's your go-to? How do you access
here's
these?
how you do it. Here's how you do it, right? You have to have a solid-looking page, right?
Yeah.
Nitrility's page looks, from an outside perspective, looks very professional.
For
like
sure.
it has like really nice graphics. It's beautiful.
And you're DMing from the actual page, not your personal?
From the page.
Okay.
But I mean, that was at the start. I realized personal was better after. But what I did was I started on Nitrility's account. What you do is you want to go to the person's latest post. You can think of it like this. Like Ariana Grande has 3,000 comments per post. She has like 4 million likes on a post, average, right? And she probably has equally as amount of DMs, right? If you comment on her post saying check your DMs, the likelihood of her seeing the DM goes immediately higher, right? So what I did is first thing you say is, hey, blank, and you fill in the name. I'd love to chat, have an offer for you for licensing. And then in the DM, you just say, hey, what's up? Super simple.
That's it.
That's super simple, right? And then you have a script that you can go off of, basically. You wait one day to establish that you're not some fanboy, and you respond a day later after they send you a message. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to say, that's sorry for the delay, was busy doing this. And then you ask them a question and you have a genuine conversation with them. The question that we have is, do you handle your own licensing? Because then it'll be like, no, I have a manager, I have a publisher, I have a record label. And then you can go into your script pitching yourself, basically. You have to make it seem as much of a genuine conversation as possible, even if you're doing it on a mass basis, right? Like that's the general psychology behind it. And then lastly, after that's all done, you hop on a call with them, you pitch yourself, you sign them. And I realized that company account was not even close to the conversion rate I was getting on my personal account. Because when I sign an artist, they follow me, obviously. So they have like 30 other artists in their network. And then I reach out to them. And then you keep on going down that lane. And to this point, I could go to any artist on planet Earth right now. I'll have a mutual with them. Could be Shawn Mendes, could be Ariana, Madison Beer, whatever, anything, right? And seeing the mutual is immediate psychological relief that okay, this guy knows a couple of my friends. Like I'm going to respond to his message, right?
Yeah.
That's the general strategy behind
it. Well, the great part about using your page instead of your brand's page is people are much more likely to follow both if they start with your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like if they follow you and they like you, they'll follow the page.
Yeah.
If they follow the brand, they might not find.
They might not know
owners,
about me.
right?
Yeah. It's
and you're building your page long term. Like if you ever want to go create a different company or something, now you have.
Now I have the network for it. Yeah. So it's good. I have a massive Google spreadsheet of 5,000 names of only the famous people I know, and I update it every day. I have VAs running it. It's probably one of the most high value things I've done. Super creepy, but I think it's worth it because anytime.
Not at all, bro. I think everyone should have a master. I have one too, master list.
Well, and then it's a description on what everyone does. You're on there, everyone's on there. So anytime I need something, transactionally, let's say it's some concert that I need to go to or an in I need for some person, I can just Command F, find the details, and then go in. Right?
How much?
For what?
For the list.
Oh, to buy the list. Okay. Well, it wouldn't really benefit. You got to know them, right? Yeah. But another thing is attaching a face to the brand is really important. Having the face there is, I think, the actual reason why I'll get responses. Every big company on planet, I mean, Tesla has Elon Musk, SpaceX has Elon Musk, Meta has Zuckerberg, Amazon has Bezos. You need a face to attach to everything.
And that's going to become more and more evident
over
as
time.
We move towards this
personal
future
brands
of AI.
is going to be huge.
That's huge. That is literally. I preach a lot of things on my page. Sometimes it's general advice for guys on relationships. Sometimes it's fitness. Sometimes it's business. But the main thing that I want everyone to take from my content is start a personal brand.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers.
No, you really
I would
don't.
say 5,000 followers, people that believe in everything you say, people that have seen your journey, is more valuable than 100,000.
I agree.
Simply
because they're going to be
famous.
interactions, engagement go up. Everything's going to, they'll share it a lot more. It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about raising a little bit. So how much have you raised to date? Are you able to say?
I'll say what we've raised in our pre-seed because I just started the seed and that's going very well. So you'll see some announcements going up for soon. But we raised $390K pre-seed. Our last round was at a 20 mil valuation.
Nice.
And now we're raising our seed. We're shooting for 10 million or more.
In the seed?
Yeah, in the seed.
Okay,
And we've raised a good amount of it. I will not say how much yet because it's not closed. But we're doing good. So hopefully this seed's going to close in next 2 months, max. And then we're going to finally get the product out to the market, which will be a good time.
Hell yeah. So take us through that process, right? I haven't raised yet.
Yeah.
I haven't needed to. I might in the future.
Yeah.
First, I would love to know personally, how do you make the decision, do I go to angels or do I go to VCs? Do I go friends and family? Do I go private equity?
Yeah. So
right, the benefits and negatives of either.
Yeah. So I'll start there, and then feel free to ask a follow-up, and I can keep going. Pre-seed, always friends and family, or just capital that you have. It's just a lot more reliable because you don't have much to showcase to people. And if you do have, it's all about optics, really. Like if you have enough to showcase to people, you go to angels or friends and family. And if you have more than enough to showcase to people, you go to institutional investors, being like your Sequoia, your A16, your big venture capital firms, right? So pre-seed, I'd shoot for your casual like friends and family. If it's a larger pre-seed, shoot for angel investors. And then if it's like a large round, you might do some angels and then some VC. Like for our seed round, for example, we're having like we're gonna have like 1 million from angels, and then we're gonna have the rest of the 9 coming from some institutional and then some larger angels, right? But no friends and family at this point, right? Unless you want to fit them in because you didn't fit them in before. It's up to you.
Yeah.
So that's the general like idea behind going around it. Like you want to just play it off of optics. Like raising is all optics, something I had to learn the hard way. Like we had all of this traction, but until you have like a really flashy looking everything and are able to present information like very well and make people interested in what you're building, it doesn't matter how good the numbers look or how good your traction looks. It's really all about optics. So you can approach different people depending on the optics you have. First thing I'd recommend when you're building a company is build a really nice looking site, build good slide decks.
Your site looks great, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. It was shit before, don't worry. Build like a nice looking site, build like really great presentables, being a memorandum for your company, and then just like one slide deck explaining everything. And slide decks are very important, but not as important as a site in my opinion. And then just have like a solid team. And once you have that optic foundation or like that shroud surrounding you saying that like, I know what I'm doing and you can believe in this company, you can get interested in it. It doesn't matter if the person investing thinks they're going to profit. They don't care about that. They're really saying like, this is a cool product. I want to put my money into it. Like, I feel like me putting it, if it profits or not, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to be a part of this, So it's about creating that like shroud, that presence around you. And then you pick and choose like who you approach. If you really need the money like ASAP and you don't have that shroud around you, go to family friends. Like if you have that, go to angels. And then if you have all of it, go to institutional, raise that full round. I think people like shy off from like showcasing everything they have, and it's really important that you do.
How hard was that at the beginning? Sometimes.
Dude.
Like how many no's did you get before you got your first yes when raising?
I watched a reel of like the Canva founder getting like 100 rejections, and like then she got investment. I can't believe she didn't give up. I put a comment on that reel, and it got probably like 2,000 likes or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was super simple. I wanted to raise my seed, and finally I'm at the position where it's going well. But mass cold emailing, mass cold calling, mass everything. I hired a VA to like even try it like every day to cold call VCs every day, and then I did it myself because that wasn't working. And then I had I used SEMrush or some other cold messaging tool. Smartly, that's what it was. And I messaged literally every VC on planet Earth, like every single one of them, at least like institutional investors. And
how many hours a day do you work?
Like close to 10 every day, but it's fun. Like it's a good time.
And then my follow-up question is gonna be like, is this everything to you? Like, do you have much? I love to ask this question.
Yeah.
Do you have much of a personal life, honestly, or do you feel like your work is your life?
I think the work is my life, but like I think it's important to hold value outside of work for yourself, right? Like I said, like you can't if let's say the company dies tomorrow, like I have to still be able to like live with myself, right? And I think I can. I think I'm proud of like who I've become, and I'm proud of like continuing on a next venture if needed, right?
Some of the best founders in the world don't though. Sam Altman, Steve Jobs, these are Elon Musk. These guys are so tied to their company that when they get pushed out or when things are going
lose
really
their
badly,
shit.
They cannot survive. I was talking with this brilliant young VC the other day, and he was saying there was some employee payroll company that had grown to like a few billion, and the CEO got ousted and he was made to look like this scumbag in the public eye, and his board and his co-founder just backstabbed him.
No, I would lose my mind if that happened, obviously.
This dude went.
It's understandable.
I'm going to find this podcast and send it to you after, because
go for it.
Insane. But he pretty much went and lived in his parents' basement for 4 years.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Gained like 300 pounds. Like literally, it was like he's like 430 pounds, something like that.
That's the problem I have with it. Like, listen, like the worst things can happen. You're a founder. Like you have to expect the worst. It's about maturity at the end of the day. Like, you have to be able to be fine with having nothing. Yeah. And if you can build with nothing and work at rock bottom the same way you worked at the top, like that's the mark of like a great founder. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to like be comfortable with nothing at all. Yeah. And I think people, once they have success, like get really uncomfortable with nothing. I mean, respectfully and understandably, to be fair, but like there's always going to be downtimes. You have to learn, like, the most important skill is learning to have resilience at those downtimes and not give up on what you're doing and work the same pace. It has to be the same pace. That and working in the gray, like when you know that nothing's going bad but nothing's going right either. I think it's worse than having bad results, honestly, because you're not getting results. You don't know what's happening. You're in the dark almost. Like, getting a yes from someone versus getting a no from someone is much better than having no answer from someone, in my opinion. Yeah. So there's a lot of downtimes. You just have to be able to work around it. It's about maturity, end of the day.
Well, you're extremely successful and driven for your age. Do you think you make most decisions on logic or intuition?
I think you start at logic and you work your way to intuition. I think at the very start it was all logic because you have to, because you don't have any basis, right? But then
not much confidence.
Yeah, exactly. But then it goes like then everything conscious becomes subconscious, and you shift over to intuition and instinct, right? And I think the goal is to be like formless. Like, I think Bruce Lee said it best, like, be like water. Like, you have to be able to like not think at all and just be able to do everything you want to do. That's like end goal. But like it starts at logic. Like, that's the way to get there.
Have you had to deal with any sharks so far? There's a lot of scumbag people out there.
So many,
bro.
I won't call them out because I'm better than that, but
I'm sure you and I have one in common. I'll tell you about it after this.
I can't wait. We probably do.
Local guy out here in New York.
Yeah, we 100% do. Aside from that, there's people that are big. Actually, if it's a local guy in New York, we might be talking about the same person. Anyways, I won't say the name, but there's people that are very big that know Ariana Grande, Post Malone, every massive person on planet Earth that are in the music industry, that try to come into your life pretending that they're the guru coming from God themselves, and they have some unique insight into the world, and they introduce you to their, this lavish lifestyle, and then they say like, bring me on as an advisor, I'll take 30% of your company, and they like try to convince you on it, and there's people that will try to snake you for all you're worth. You just have to understand, and I mean, dude, you have to be able to call out the signs. Like, if someone is over flexing themselves or over talking about themselves, and let's say someone's giving you advice, if you know they can say that advice in 4 words, but they're saying it in 3 essay-like paragraphs instead, they're trying to portray that they're something that they're not. That's like the biggest indicator that I've found.
My advice to anyone listening is anyone who truly has value to offer, and anyone who truly wants to see you succeed and wants to act as a mentor figure or an older entrepreneur trying to help you on your path, they actually will not ask for a big slice of your pie.
They will not.
Maybe they say, hey, I think you're a very bright kid. I think I could help you a little bit. Let me know if you ever want an advisor, and I'll take 1 or 2% of your company.
They won't even say that. They won't even ask for the shares. Yeah. Like, they'll just help you, and then you'll give it to them eventually. Like, you'll realize, like,
you say, I want you on my board, and I'll vest you at 1% a year.
I'll give you an example. There's this great company called Superpower Health.
Dude, I'm friends with Jacob Peters. I'm really good friends with him.
Oh, sick, dude.
I'm building like this really high-level young networking program for entrepreneurs right now, and he has already committed to like sponsoring it with superpower programs for all of them. He's going to come and be a keynote speaker.
Dude, that's sick. I'll take a picture and send it to him after this. But dude, so Max is the one I'm close with, like really close with. But I've met Jacob out in LA.
Max Kerr?
Yeah, no, Max Marchione, his co-founder, right? Yeah. So, I mean, dude, I met with him one day in New York. He came out and we met at a dinner that me and Nicolas Iano hosted with Mark as well, his co-founder. And what happened is like Max really vibed with me. I didn't have a slide deck. I didn't have much presentables. It was the first time I was going into a serious raise. And he goes, dude, I'll just help you. He sat down with me for like 3 hours helping me with the slide deck. And this guy is like, he's not a small founder. This guy's like dealing with a lot every day. He's talking to Sean Puri, like the Zuckerberg family office. Like he's raised a round that's pretty big. Like, and he spent the time to just do that. He didn't ask for a single share in the company. Now he owns advisory shares, but like I gave it to him out of my own will because he's just helped out consistently. It's like a constant force that will help out like all the time, right? Whereas there's some like massive person that's going to be think like they're big, right? And they'll like convince you to give them more, you know what I mean? And you can immediately pop out the fake. Anyone that tries to show off what they are doesn't actually have anything. That's like generally how it works.
Damn, bro. Well, I'm glad that we know the same people, and it really makes you feel like the world is, not that big, and everybody is just one connection away.
Yeah, like every big engineer knows most of the big engineers. Every big doctor knows the most of the big doctor. Like we're just in the entrepreneur field, so we know most of the like good entrepreneurs, right? That's just how it works.
What really fires me up is, have you read the recent Elon Musk book?
I have not, no.
The Walter Isaacson one?
I know the book. I just haven't read it, no.
So I didn't know this until reading the book. But all the PayPal Mafia guys, the guys on the All In podcast.
Oh, bro, they all know each other. They're all like best friends.
They have been friends since they were like 25 years old.
The very start, literally.
And that gets me so fired up because
you're part of a circle right now that you think is going to get there as well. And it's not even think it's going to get there. It's showing results, right?
Sure.
Like Jacob just raised his round. Like, I mean, he had a massive company before that. Like, any of my founder friends I know, like Nico, Mark, or any of the big guys in New York, like they're raising money from Sam Altman, all these massive founders, and you can see results like in the people around you, like Eric Zhu, if you know him, like same thing. Like, there's a small circle of people, and we're a part of it, and it's just I'm really lucky to have been a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the right people find your way into your life, and working hard and dropping out and doing all of that shit in college was worth it because I found that group, and it wasn't through trying. It was all accident. I accidentally DM'd Eric Zhu one day. I ran into Nico at a random event. Max came when Nico invited him for no reason. Like, it all just falls into place. You just have to work.
Dude, I was getting a lift in with this brilliant young guy. I think he's 24. Yeah. He's one of the head guys in a very small VC, but very important VC. I can't say which company they invested in, but it's one of the biggest it's one of the biggest AI tech companies there are right now, right? I'll just say that.
Scale AI?
I can't say which. Okay, it's not that one. I can't say what it is. It's bigger than that one though. But he was telling me. I asked him when we were working out. I said, "What's the biggest commonality between all these founders? All the founders that you've invested in that have made your 100x return or more?" And I was expecting him to say like resilience or relentlessness or unwavering determination. You know what he said? He said they were all just really fucking nice.
Yeah, I mean,
and
that's
I was like,
generally
really?
how it
And
goes,
he goes, yeah. Like every single one of them, not a single one of the guys we invested in that became like massive today were overly showy or dicks. He said you could be in a room.
Let me clarify that real quick. That does not mean low ego. That means high ego, by the way.
For sure.
Like, it means humble and high ego go hand in hand.
You don't need to push your will on anybody because you're so confident.
It's there as it stands, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you watch a Roger Federer interview, I think that's the best way to go about it. Like, he was talking to his audience, and for people that don't watch tennis, he's one of the best tennis players in the world, right? And
one of the greatest athletes of all time.
just the GOAT, the all-time GOAT, right? So, like, one of the interviewers was like, Roger, like, how do you always go into these matches? He's like, I'm a fairly talented player, and everyone laughs. It's just true. Like, he knows he's a fairly talented player. He never has to say it to anyone out there, right? Like, he doesn't have to, portray this image. Like, it's already there as it stands. So, yeah, everyone's super nice. Like, the people that are really, really nice are the ones that don't have to, like, brag about themselves or talk about themselves. They talk to others because they know that their stance already carries weight. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a massive indicator. Like, most VCs that I know that have invested in companies are all the same. Like, and you'll know the bad VCs from the good ones because some of the bad ones will touch the founders that are completely opposite from that,
sure. How do you go about, this is one thing that I really want to learn because this is something that I'm trying to figure out right now. The CEO and the founder is not supposed to be the best at every role. If anything, they're supposed to be the worst at every role, right? Yeah. They're supposed to find the guys that are better than them at every other thing. Yeah. How do you go about finding your top level talent for your company?
Yeah, I think I'm doing this more now, but at the start, like, it was a very solo game. Like, I do think it's important because, like, let's say there's someone wants to get into it. You're talking to the person that had literally nothing. Like, I was the most unintelligent person ever. Like, I learned fast, but my, like, general breadth of knowledge was very low. and I had a really high ego, so I was, and it was arrogance, honest to God. So I didn't try to learn information from other people. I didn't read books. I didn't do anything really. So at the start, like I realized like if I can't get to this point where I'm at least as knowledgeable as the people that I'm trying to compete with and all these big founders, like I'm screwed. So I have to do a lot of things solo because that's the best way to learn. Like you do it all on your own, right? I'm at the point now where I'm doing hires and everything like that. And what you're really going to want to look for, at least for me, is like you just look for a reflection of yourself. Like it's that nice person, the same indicator that the VCs look into hiring people. It's the same metric for talking to anyone, really. Like if you talk to someone and they genuinely care about you, like you'll usually find that person is incredibly intelligent and has a lot to offer. Beyond just being nice, like they're giving good feedback, they're, you know, listening to you, asking good questions, good conversators. Like those are all very close indicators, right? And that's not just shown in like the way they speak or the way they act, that's shown in the way they work as well. Like coders approach problems in different ways. You can notice the way they talk in real life or their character by the way they work. And that's the best way I can put it. Like if you build yourself up, you'll see reflections in the mirror around you, and you're just looking for those reflections. That's it.
Do you vest and give equity to the best workers, or do you vest in order to get the best workers?
We give it.
Do you understand that?
No, I know that question. We give it to the earliest people, and the
Okay.
earliest people are just the people that I believe in off rip. Like it's not people that I will never bring anyone on the team that I don't believe in immediately, like almost immediately, right? And those are the only people that get vesting of shares. You know what I mean?
Let me explain like my situation, I guess, then,
hit me.
because I would love to hear your advice. There's guys that work for me that got in at the beginning. They're really genuine people. They're very, very.
But they might not be like as skilled as the people you're bringing in now, or what?
No. So there's guys we have that they're A players, right? Yeah. And I recognized it right away, and so I vested them. But there's also guys that are A players in their own field, and I want to bring them in and I want to vest them. Yeah. But they haven't necessarily like shown me that they're A players for me yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do I wait to vest the people that are showing me that they're ready to commit?
In my opinion, if you can't immediately come to a decision if they are going to provide value, they're not going to provide value.
That's it. Alex Ramosi says something similar. You know, what did he say? He said like, you know, in the first like 20 minutes if someone's going to be here for the long run.
Correct. I haven't seen the quote, but that's literally perfectly correct. Like if you can't decide to vest shares right now, they're not the people you want to vest shares to in general, right? I might be wrong. Like you might not know them well enough, but like in my opinion, then just get to know them a little bit more, and you'll come to a conclusion. It's not going to be about them working for you. It's about you vibing with them the most. It's
for sure.
I mean, the best.
You can be the smartest guy in the world if you're selfish and you're really nerdy or whatever. Like you know, people that want to be around you, then you're not gonna.
Yeah, high agency, low ego, like and not like low ego. It's high ego, but high humbleness, honestly. And just like really hard work ethic and intelligence is like the best factors to then get a co-founder or someone that you want to really work with. And it's about just knowing that person best enough. Like Nico and Mark, two massive founders out here, look up Hypercard. They met and within 5 minutes they decided to found a company together. Like that's literally crazy. 5 minutes. And I've heard it. That's not one story. That's like across the spectrum. Like it's. I mean, you'll always know. You'll just know.
How did you make the decision to drop out of college?
Like I said, it was just like an instant thing. Almost really? Yeah. It was also getting to the point where like, bro, it was just a hassle being on campus. Like the COVID restrictions were happening at the time. I was talking on a call with Alon Galani, and this guy's in Hong Kong. If he sees me with a mask on, he's gonna think I'm being disrespectful. So I didn't have the mask on, like in like this isolated room, and these hall monitors come in, see that happen like 4 times at this point, and I'm like, dude, I'm on a call, like a client call that's important. I was an idiot, so I didn't realize they wouldn't understand what that meant. But I like got banned from like 3 or 4 buildings on campus, like multiple times. Had to write like several essays to apology to the school, and then I got put on academic probation. And then once I raised my round, which by the way was the only company on all of UIUC campus that has raised a round or been the level of success it was, the school didn't support me at all. So I made a public like LinkedIn post that went fairly viral. That was like on the top of like when you Googled UIUC, it was the first one that showed up, and the school just hates me at this point. So.
Was that the getting canceled thing you were talking about?
Yeah, like the staff does not
hear
like
about
me
that.
at all. Yeah, I mean, like I said, academic probation, right? Within 2 months, like of being on campus year 2, because my parents forced me to go back. Even after I raised my round, I realized that college wasn't it. I can't do this anymore. They put me on academic probation. I'm taking full course load, and I have to build this company on the side with people that are like vested interest into my company, like investors. Like I can't just like not build it. You know what I mean? And I was like, I went out to go meet Post Malone in Chicago, like 2 weeks after I got into college, and then I come back and I'm taking physics class. I'm like, dude, I can't do this.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer for sure to get out of there.
I can't do this, right? And I told them, like, guys, let me like stay in this school without academic probation. I will build this company and try to come back and fulfill my parents' wishes. And they're like, no, if you don't do these classes, you're out of the school. And I'm like, you can go like fuck yourself, literally. So I made a public post. It got like 300,000 impressions in 3 days. The entire campus saw it, which like the students liked it, great, right? Yeah. But the staff did not like it at all. So I can't get into Lion. I can't get into some of the bars on campus. I can't go to some of the buildings there.
Well, they're about to miss out on a nice little $50 million donation one day.
No, for sure. Yeah, they're about to miss the fuck out on that.
That's crazy.
It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. The school is just not accustomed to it, which just sucks because I mean, Mark Andreessen came from UIUC. Like some of the best people in the world came there. Tesla came out of there. I mean, PayPal came out of there. It is what it is.
There's a lot of problems with the college education system, and my only hope is that I think there's so many brilliant young entrepreneurs that are starting amazing companies right now, and my hope is that like all the guys that are our age that are doing stuff, and I have like a clothing brand, right? So it's on no level of yours, right?
Yeah, but like even then you can it still takes a lot to do that. Like my friend of mine was like starting a clothing brand, and I went through the process with them of helping him out. It's not easy at all.
Dude,
like,
it's the worst business ever. Like we're doing well, but it's the worst business ever.
It's tough, man.
My plan is to use everything I've learned from building this consumer product business
like a tech product or something.
Yeah, like exactly. I want to build an AI tech company that essentially is going to serve as like your best friend AI model for how you're supposed to build your business. So
that's nice. I haven't seen.
I'm curious your opinion to this. I haven't told anybody about this yet, but I don't believe in like people stealing ideas.
Yeah.
If you want to try and take my idea, go for it, right?
You just do it better, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly how I feel.
I'm the same way. Like, I feel like once you reach a threshold, like, you'll have the confidence enough to just, like, say it to anyone and don't care.
People have hit me like, hey, I want to pitch an idea to you. Okay, let's hear it. And
Sign
they go,
an NDA?
Yeah, and I'm like,
oh
all right, never mind.
Yeah,
right?
No, I do the same thing. I have the same exact policy. Like, if you're trying to sign an NDA with me, I will say no. I won't say, like, I will say, like, I understand where you're coming from. Just some word of advice, and this is not me trying to be fishy or anything like that. It may sound like that to you, but you're going to have to pitch your idea a lot to people. If you're asking to sign an NDA every time, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities.
100%.
Yeah.
It almost shows that like you don't believe in it, because if you believed in your idea and yourself.
It's about believing in yourself more than believing in it. Like if you don't believe in yourself to just beat out everyone that even try. Like I guarantee anyone that tries to do Nitrility will not do it as good as me. It could be YouTube, Twitch, Amazon. It could be anyone. I will outcompete them because I know more about it than anyone else out there, right? So everyone should have that confidence in the company.
Dude,
honestly.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess, the thing I was explaining was I essentially just want to build, like, my biggest problem right now as a young entrepreneur isn't necessarily that I don't have the solutions to the problems that I'm facing. It's I don't know what the problems are yet. So I don't know what I don't know. Right. Yeah. And I meet guys like yourself on this podcast every single week, and I hear about other people's problems and I hear about their solutions. And then I'm like, oh my God. And I implement that in my business and it changes everything.
No,
right?
I agree.
But that only comes from meeting other people and hearing about their stories. So
I haven't learned anything about Nitrility from books or anything, or even Google research. Like it's been through just experience. Like the only reason I even came to the idea was from experience, right?
Nice.
It's like, just starting. Like for anyone listening, just starting is the way to learn everything. Like you don't have to do anything else. If you just go and you learn from other people and you take in information, it's about knowing how to learn. You will outclass people that have studied with PhDs in the subject you're trying to go into.
Fully agree. Yeah, I want to take all of this information that I've gathered. I want to take all the problems that I've heard from all these different people. I want to put them into this platform. Use a learning language model and essentially create like this AI best friend that's going to tell you exactly what you need to do for wherever you are on your growth journey.
Just make
as an
sure,
entrepreneur.
Piece of advice for that, just make sure that, because it's not just about the company, it's also about yourself, right? Make sure it doesn't help too much, because that's another thing AI will do. Like if it over helps, then you're going to kill the person because they're going to be too reliant on the AI, right? And the person is really the biggest determining factor. Like a founder is the biggest determining factor in the company succeeding. If the founder is too reliant on a calculator, for example, to do a math problem, then they will not learn the process to do the problem or get to the solution they want for other problems. And when they don't have access to the AI, then who knows, everything might crumble. So building like the layer of assistance, but also building that layer of you need to figure it out yourself in some way, shape, or form. Not sure how you'll implement it because then it kind of diminishes the product.
Yeah, well, rather than, I'm not going to be building anyone's business for them, but I want to build Shopify for services.
Yeah.
Where I'm essentially like telling you like, okay, this is what you need to, oh, you're right here? Yeah. Right? This is your.
If it draws the guideline, that's perfect. Yeah. Like the blueprints for it. But building it is the part where you need to make sure you lay back on, at least in my opinion, because then it'll make sure founders are actually like mentally equipped to handle the tough times ahead. Like,
no, that's good advice. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's get into, it's the last 10 minutes, last 10 or 15. So I want to get into some like rapid fire questions. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be quick answers, but just a couple spams. What do you think your superpower is?
Not giving up. That's literally it. And that's not like the scale that most people have it at. Like, at least, and this is something I will be like very braggy about. I'm like as rejected as it gets from everyone. And I had literally nothing when I started. And I had like a lot of mental issues, a lot of issues with family because, dropping out was not a fun time. And just being able to like push through it has probably been the hardest thing. But I've gotten here, and I think it's the only thing I'm good at. That's it.
Nice. What are you lacking right now, both professionally, as an entrepreneur, and in your personal life?
Professionally,
and I think this is important because it makes people relatable and okay, he's going through similar issues.
Yeah, professionally, like I think I've learned to fix this a little bit recently, but like I still have a ways to go. I need to learn how to play optics a lot more than like building great products because unless someone understands what you're building, no one's going to care about it, even if it's something amazing. And I've done a good job recently, but like I've only spent 2 months on it. Like when I failed at the, in some respect, like we got offers for the raise, but it wasn't at nearly what I wanted it to be at. Like when I failed at that, I sat down and I looked at what I have in front of me, which is Nitrility, and I said, listen, like we need to build better presentables. Like we need to build these optics that make it better. And I sat down and I tried to convey that information as best as possible. And now we're starting the race again. Now it's going well, right? But I'm nowhere close to where I want to be with that. Like I have to learn better. Like I still have to hit up max every time I want to check out a script that creating for a demo video, for example, right? Like I should be able to get it first try. I shouldn't have to like go through 3 iteration cycles. Lowering iteration cycles on optics is what I'm most keen to do professionally. And then personally, I think I let people influence me a little bit too much. I think it's just like it comes with layers of maturity, but my goal is to make it so that if someone tells me something, I take it with a grain of salt every single time, no matter what. And right now, subconsciously, it influences me. I think most people, everything someone says influences you. I'm like, I think I'm better on the scale on that, but I'm not as good as I want to be. I want to make sure that like every thought I have is an original thought. It's a very hard thing to do, but it's like one of the most important things to do, I think, for anyone starting a company.
Nice. Well said. Yeah. My advice to you, having my own little personal brand is, and this is something, I'm about to hire a videographer to come live in my house with me and record everything.
That's probably smart. Yeah.
And I think every entrepreneur who's building something that they think is going to be important.
When we got our office, I'm doing the same thing.
Dude, I think that would not only it would help your personal brand in terms of getting clients,
also
but also
makes you
customers.
relatable, like honest to God, like it'll show like, listen, this is what I'm building, this is how I'm doing it. It's shit's not easy. It's very scrappy. Like this is how I don't make a phone call to some CEO and then everything falls in place. I make a phone call to 8 different CEOs and word my way around something to get like half the result that I want to get, right? Like it's very difficult, and having a person showcase all of that's a great thing, honestly.
I like to think, I love business and entrepreneurship first. Like that is my passion. Content is secondary, right? If I had to pick one or the other, I'd naturally want to pick business because that's what I'm interested in. That's what I wanted to do since I was a kid. Yeah. But I have no problem saying that clicking the record button was the best decision I've ever made.
I agree.
Because it's made the world so much smaller. Yeah. It's given access to people like yourself, anybody. Yeah. All right.
One of my other founder friends did the same thing. He started an Instagram. Immediately, like his company started taking off. Just one Instagram page, just like mine. Told him to do exactly what I did. He can talk to anyone now. Like it's 10 times easier.
Good for him. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is being a young entrepreneur an advantage or disadvantage?
It's a mix. And a lot of people will tell you it's an advantage, but that's just a lie, honest to God. I talk to so many people every single day. I've made it to the point where it's a non-factor at this point because my personality is good enough, but older entrepreneurs just have more time to build a better presence around themselves. Not brand-wise, not business-wise.
I'm saying if you could rather start your first business at 18 or 38.
I'd start now because if I started at 30, but that's just specific to me. Like if I started at 38, like I wouldn't have started, honestly. Like I would have been stuck somewhere and I wouldn't have gone into it, right? But if I had the mental acuity to start later and I would commit to it, I probably would, because I would have a way more equipped skill set than I would now. Like when it comes to talking to people, when it comes to understanding people's emotions, I wouldn't have made the mistakes I've made in the past. I made a lot of mistakes, but I think if I started later, I wouldn't have made those mistakes. But again, that's like more general. Specific to me, starting earlier was the best play. I would have never started if I started later.
Interesting. I disagree with you personally, but I see your point though.
Yeah.
It might have been Sam Altman that said it actually, but I think the earlier you start, being an entrepreneur it's
like a cascade effect. I know what you mean. Like
it's an exponential. It's an exponential curve.
Because Sam doesn't have to work nearly as hard as he worked later, right? But in an ideal world where you could do the same thing within from now to 10 years, I hope to build a couple $1 billion company, right? Yeah. If I could do the same thing from 30 to 40, I'd take the 30 to 40 because instead of 10 years, I think it would be cut down to 5. And I could have spent this time doing something else. Obviously, the hard part is finding something else to do that you really like, because this is all I really like, honestly. I think it's just about, I think the main takeaway is like if you're an older person and you're looking at this podcast right now, like it's never too late to find what you like, ever. You can do it at any point in time, and understand that you're not at a disadvantage. You have a skill set that you just have to find. And being older gives advantages, whether people like to say it or not, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think being young gives an advantage.
It does too. It does.
People want to help you.
Start earlier. People want to help you.
That's why people buy from the lemonade stands. It's not because they want that gross little lemonade that's been sitting out for hours. It's because they want to help the kid, right?
You have to find the right people. That's the thing. Yeah.
So at the beginning, you said, you had somewhat of a high ego, and you thought, I'm going to figure it out on my own. And then you said, wait, I really need to take a step back and do my research before I make decisions.
Yeah.
Do you read a lot of books? Do you watch a lot of podcasts now, or do you kind of just jump right in?
I do not. I jump right in. I haven't watched I watch the All In podcast every once in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't read a single book in 10 years or so or something.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I don't read articles. I Google things if I need specific information. Like people tell me all the time like I should be reading books and all of this, but I learn better from doing, and that's just how I am. Like if I'm not doing the thing I want to learn, like I don't even watch sports. Like I like playing them. I don't like watching them.
Fully agree.
And I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like that's just how I am. Like I might get into books. Who knows? Like I've read some great ones. Like, but none that like really inspire me than just doing what's in the book.
Dude, when I was a junior in college, I was like, fuck, I'm broke, dude.
Yeah.
And I wanna make some money. So I read the top 45, I think it was, best business and leadership books. There were everything from David Goggins, Simon Sinek, Ray Dalio, Peter Thiel. I read all of them. After about a year, I was still broke. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, I actually have to do something.
Yeah, you
with
have
this,
to do
right?
something.
It's like you can watch Tom Brady's film sessions all day, every day.
Or you could do it.
Or you could just go throw the football.
Yeah.
And the guy who's throwing the football is going to get better.
I was the kid that always like sat down, just like absorbed information. I think I was at the point where I had to do something about it on my own terms, right? Like I mean, dude, I'm Indian. It's literally just textbook memorization every single day for 18 years of your life, right? So when I had the freedom to not do that, the best play was to not do that, and I haven't done it since. It's just been doing. I think I'm more of an original thinker than most people out there because of it, which is something I value a lot. Yeah.
Dude, well, one thing I noticed about you that I really respect and appreciate is, me having to like constantly connect with other people on social media and entrepreneurs and trying to get people on this podcast.
Yeah.
Before I invited you on, there was another guy I invited on, and he was recommended to me through a friend. And he said, I'm down to come on. And then he didn't respond for a couple days. And I said, I already bought my hotel and my plane ticket. Didn't respond again.
Yeah.
And it was just extremely frustrating. I hit you up. I said, do you want to come on at 3 tomorrow? And you said, I'll be there. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
you didn't ask any questions. You didn't ask. You didn't ask for more details.
Yeah,
You didn't say maybe. You didn't say I'll let you know. You just said, yeah, I'll be there. And I could tell by how fast you responded and how simple your response was that if I show up at that time, he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, I would love to know like what some of your leading life principles are that you think have contributed greatly to where you are today, and that will play a pivotal role in you being very successful 10, 20, 30 years from
I
now.
just operate on instinct all the time. I think it's my like constant flow state. I think it's like the best way to describe it. So if I spontaneously feel like something's worth it, I'll just say yes and just do it immediately, like no questions asked. I mean, I had like an investor call right now, but I wanted to do the podcast. I haven't done one in a bit, right? Like,
Appreciate it.
It's not, it's not even about that. Like, it's just about like, if I have a feeling about something, I'll end up doing it. I have very low fear. I think a lot of people have pointed it out, but I've hosted, big events, like games with big people. And I think every single time I don't have the butterfly feeling in my stomach. I don't get anxious. And I was a very anxious kid, like 1 to 18. Like I had like mental breakdowns, like panic attacks every single day. It was really, really bad. But the second I started entrepreneurship, maybe for like a year it was bad, but after that, I don't have any of that anymore. Like on the way here, I was just excited to have a conversation with someone, right? I'm in a position where like I'm doing what I love, and I don't have to be fearful of anything because everything's an up compared to what it was before. It was a very, very tough period of life, and I'm at the point where I'm talking to people that I never imagined I would ever get to talk to. I'm learning every single day things I never got to learn before. And I mean, if I look at my business from an objective standpoint, I'm here. And even when I go down a little bit, it's still way better than being down there, which is where I was before, right? So like I have nothing to be upset about. I'm just grateful that I'm here,
Dude, fuck yeah. I think that's the perfect way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Got me feeling inspired. I literally, for everyone watching, I'm on like 5 hours of sleep past 48 hours.
Nice, yeah.
And I feel fucking
yeah. I sleep at 7 a.m., bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I feel fired up right now. And this
yeah.
is like genuinely one of the best podcasts we've had so far. Just
it,
pure good information. You're extremely humble, but you're also extremely confident at the same time, dude. So thank you so much for coming on. And
no, 100%.
I'm gonna link all of his stuff, his business, his socials in the comments. I don't know how much or how often you read your DMs, but I'm sure you're gonna get spammed by a lot of little kids.
Hopefully, whatever works,
saying,
bro. I can't wait for them. I can't wait. I respond to most DMs because I know when I was starting, it sucked not getting a response. So
yeah.
I will do the favor to respond to everyone that wants to talk. Yeah.
Word. Well, dude, thank you again for coming on, bro. It's
anytime,
been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment, any questions for the next one, and thank you guys for watching.